PLO 5 and 6 is a lot of fun, and because it is a new game, there is a huge opportunity for those who want to study it. So the more cards you add to your hand, the closer the equities will be. So it is more important to have nut potential and actually to play less hands, give priority to play in position, and sometimes take the decisions and deciding if you're going to build up the pot to next streets. Having redraws and backdoors are extremely important. I know all of this is also very important in PLO 4, but as you add cards, it becomes even more important. I think the biggest mistake in all the PLO games is pre-flop hand selection. A lot of times players are on the flop with hands they shouldn't even be. And of course they go to the turn and to the river also with hands they shouldn't be. They get into tricky situations, then ended up not having the nuts so often, and they ended up losing a lot of money because of this. With more cards in your hand, you're gonna hit the board more frequently. So do your opponents. When you have a flush, and if it's not the nut flush, it's more likely that someone will have the nut flush. So you have to be very, very careful with the hands you put a lot of money in. You want to have the nut potential on the river, so when you actually make a good hand, you're gonna gain a lot of value from it, because the most part of the money you're gonna win is from players putting a lot of money with hands they shouldn't. So second nut, third nut flush, when you're holding the nut flush. So you should hand select very well with hands that you can have the nut on the river. So if you're going to play PLO 5 and 6 cards for the first time, a good piece of advice would be to not prioritize big pocket pairs. They are still very good, of course, aces are great, but the side cards of your hand are extremely important. Not every pocket aces will be actually a very good hand. You don't necessarily want to go all in with these hands pre-flop, especially multi-way. You need a lot of nut potential. So you need the pocket aces with the nut flush possibility, hopefully double suited, hopefully not blocking several cards of the same suit in your hand. So you don't want to have the ace of spades and another 3 cards of spades, and so on. So you need to pay attention to all the components of the hand in order to see if it's actually a good or a mediocre starting hand. Having the nuts on the flop doesn't necessarily mean that you will have the nuts until the river. So having redraws and backdoors are extremely important. In a flop, for an example, 9-8-7 with a flush possibility, let's say you only have the nuts straight, but you don't have any backdoor or any redraw. If a player pots, the other repots, you may consider folding your nuts, because probably they have the nuts as well, and they might have a redraw or a backdoor. So they are performing better than you would, and you would be free rolled a lot of times. So having the possibility to improve on later streets, it's very, very important. Blockers are very important in PLO. If you're deciding to run a bluff, this is a very important piece of information to have. In PLO 5 and 6, having blockers is good, but you must be mindful that people have more cards in their hand, so they still will have that portion of their range more often than in PLO 4, for an example. So blockers are less important in PLO 6 than they are to PLO 5 than they are to PLO 4. PLO games are a lot of fun. It can be 4, 5, or 6 cards. 888 Poker has a lot of PLO games happening all the time in all stakes, so check out for yourself, and of course, good luck!